What? Why is it doing that? What the hell? No. What? How about now? Is that better? Can everyone hear me? Don't know. What is this? Can you hear me? Natalie? I don't know. I suppose I shouldn't be able to hear myself, but it's MG.
Hello.
Hey, I'm having real trouble with my internet, so I'm trying to like do a couple things and
Okay.
see if I can. There we go. Hopefully that's better. And that the recording doesn't bust. I wonder, is it still recording? Yeah, it's still recording. Good.
Cool.
All right. I've had a lot of people tell me that this first night they didn't think they were going to make it. So there's 7 of us all together.
Stay.
And I'm keeping my phone on just to be sure if people can't get in or whatever, that I troubleshoot that with
Okay.
them.
And I'm
But other than that, how are you? How's this evening? Or is it evening yet?
yeah,
4:30.
it's close. That's basically my bedtime since I got up at 3, but
Right?
yeah.
But I'm so
it-
sorry.
Oh, I took the job knowing what I was gonna have to do, and now I'm multitasking
No.
again because I have to walk the dog.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
But yeah, I got great news. That job I went for, I got it.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
Yeah. So all my life circumstances are about to change for the better.
All righty.
I mean, I'm sure there's other, hoops to jump through, but I got down one of them.
Awesome. 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 That is a relief, I bet, for you.
Oh, so much so.
Mm-hmm.
I felt bad giving my notice to the current company because they're hurting, but at the same time, it was like, nope, I need this for
Yeah.
me and everybody else. So,
Excuse me. I am getting over a cough, which I did have a little bit of the other day. Which side am I supposed to be on here? Trying to like be in the middle. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get started because it is 8 after and I'm always I like to be mindful of the time, but people can come anytime that um you can drop in. And if it's only one person on, which tonight it is, Christy is with me. And many of you told me that you couldn't be here, so that's totally fine. I record them all and I'm gonna show you where I think I'm going to store them. But if it doesn't work, you'll get an email from me with a backup place that I will store them. But we're going to walk through how to access the online course room because what we're doing in group coaching is going to be parallel to what you're doing throughout the week on your own. And again, this is a 10-week condensed version of a 20-week program. And I'm looking for feedback. So if you feel like you're drinking through a fire hose, please tell me. And there are no demerits or bad scores on your test if you don't do your homework. None of that is true. Like it's just you get what you give to the program essentially. So don't worry if you can't get to all the homework during the week. There are a few things that I'll say, hey, this is something that I really think you should try to set aside time for. And even so, you just get what you give into this program. So tonight is going to be kind of an introductory, how do I find the stuff and what am I going to be doing week to week and what can I be expecting? And then it's going to be kind of a brief overview of the first 7 days. So we'll kind of, as I'm showing you how to access stuff, I think we'll just kind of go through those first 7 days of items and talk through what the content is. And that is how I can give a little bit more detail to you than just the videos and the workbook and the online material would have for you. Okay. Any questions so far? It's just you and me, Christy. If you don't have any questions, that's totally fine. Let's see. Okay.
I forgot it was just us. I
Yeah,
should
it's
reply
totally
to those.
I will let you ask questions, but it's totally fine. I've had some really great, like when only 1 or 2 people can show up, there's some of the funnest sessions that I do because it's just a little bit more intimate. We get into some more details around stuff.
Yeah.
So now what I'm going to do is share my screen. Wow, it thinks that it can share my iPad. What the what? No, wait a minute. I'll get used to doing this, I promise. It'll get better.
Oh, I got patience for miles.
It'll get better. Baby. Oh, I didn't know, but I think I closed all of that stuff. Well, that's lovely. Let me open it back up. That'll help. Oops. Awesome. Trying to keep things on this side of the screen while I'm looking at the iPad for my recording.
Yeah.
Always a trick. Oh wait, that's it.
For the workbooks, you typically have to print them, right? Like they're not supposed to be interactive.
Right.
Okay.
I've had people tell me that I could make them interactive. I just have not gotten around to that. So at this point, they're PDFs. And I'm actually, so the stuff that you're talking about, Christy, I gave you access to my old program, and I'm going to go through that a little bit tonight too on the screen so that people kind of know and can give me feedback and toggle back and forth, use the one that works the best for you. But I am making some modifications to bring it into a 10-week format. The workbook is one of those modifications, so it's going to look a little bit different. Similar material, lots of overlap, but not exactly the same. And you do, if you want to do it written, have to print it out because I don't have the Adobe Acrobat that I opened it up so that it was a fillable thing. All righty. I think I've got this. All right, so now I gotta share. Go back to that screen. And here we go. Yay. All right. So I'm not really sure how to do this any better than to, you're seeing everything on the left hand of your screen. That's none of that is anything you need to do anything with. That's all of the stuff that I use to make my app. But I wanted to show you what the app version on a phone is going to look like. And it does that here as a preview. And so I'm going to use that for that reason. But you're just looking at the phone, that piece of it, and then we can go through where to find what you're looking for to do the coursework in between. I also will toggle back and forth between that, and there is a web-based version of the app. So if you open up learn-to-love-your-story.passion.io, that is how you would access it on the web. And at this point is the only way to access it. I don't have a native app in Google or Apple as of yet because I'm creating this. So we're building the plane as we're flying, and I'll make modifications. And then when I'm done with you guys, then I'll be able to go ahead and submit to have everything go into the app stores as well. So this might be something you want to bookmark. It's just learn-to-love-your-story.passion.io. Now, I can show you how to put this on your home screen, just like an app. It will give you a little icon on your home screen on your phone. I can walk you through that in a little bit here. So this is the first screen that you're going to see. And here is my instructions for you. So I want everybody to scroll on down. This is just kind of the sales page is what we call it. And I want you to choose the Learn to Love Your Story free version of the app. It will not open up all the things you're going to see tonight, but what it does is it allows you to create your own username and your own password. And I didn't really want to monkey with that for all of you. So once you guys have done that, I can go in on the back end and open up any of the products that I have on the app. And that's what I'll do. So as you guys create your username and password, I'll be checking, and I'll be going in and making sure to open up everything that you're going to see as we go through it tonight. So that's what you do. That would bring you to probably this welcome screen right here, and then you'll log in or sign up is what I'm going to have you guys do, is just click on the sign up button. And from there, again, don't pay attention to anything on the left side of the screen. That is not stuff that you guys are going to do. From there, there's all of these little buttons at the bottom. So once you've gotten a username and password and you're in the app, it's Discover, which is kind of the home page. I'll go back to that. Learn, which is where all of my courses are going to be. So we're going to spend some time here tonight. Community, which is a big piece of this. And as you can see, because I'm open to all of them, there's 4 different communities. We will be working in this one, taking our places. As I roll out the app to other people that follow me, they'll be in the Story Lovers and Story Liberator groups, probably, because these are the 2 online monthly payment ones that you can use. And you should feel free, just like you do on my social media, to go in and comment and say whatever you want in those 2 as well. But for the purposes of the 7 people that are in taking our places for the next 10 weeks, this is our community. It has within it 4 different areas that I've created. This is a place to give me feedback. So if as we certain kind of comment, so you will be introducing yourself is the first one. So you'll just open that up. Oh, My internet connection is unstable, it says. That's awesome. So you introduce yourself there and just say why you joined the program. And these other 3 are kind of where we will be supporting one another between the group coaching. This is an integral part of the therapy, or I'm sorry, the group coaching. I worked a whole day, so you can just forgive me with that little Freudian slip. It's a really important part of the group coaching. If you've ever watched my testimonial video, you will see that I am like all of the people that talked about one of the things that was the most important to them was the group setting, was the fact that you're watching other people and other people doing very different things in their growth mindset to rediscover their joy. So it really helps you to feel like you're, not just having an internal journey, but watching an external journey, and it really lifts the whole process. So I am hoping to see a lot of interaction in the community. I also will be going into the community and poking my head in and putting out questions and whatnot. Now, in here, the Q&A section is where you ask me questions. And I also, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm just spitballing that I think I might make a different one for us that has our videos that I host. But this is where I'm going to host the videos. They're really just a link into my YouTube channel. You don't upload the whole video onto the actual app. It just takes you off the app into YouTube. I'm actually going to create a 5th group that just has any of the recordings that we've done. And that'll be an easy way for you to go in and see stuff. I'm going to just pause for a second because I saw a text come in and I want to be sure it's anybody that's looking for help getting in. Nope. Okay. All righty. So that's community. And then there's this cute little button called tracking. Now, as we talk tonight about the actual content, this stuff will start to make a little bit more sense. It's another place that you can give me some feedback. If you think there's an area that we should be trying to track and help one another out in, please let me know. But this is a feature on the app that kind of lets us watch each other in our progress. It isn't a place where you're like, oh God, I didn't do my homework this week. So the homework one, I actually have closed, so only you and I see it. I do want you to track it because it helps me help you and show you where you might want to be doing the homework assignments that are coming with the course room, and giving you some advice on specific stuff based on what we talk about here in the group and what you share. But the other ones all can be seen by all of you. And all that to say, it's mindfulness meditation. We're trying to do it once a day, maybe more if we can, very short. And we'll talk about that in the content tonight. A self-care. And so these check-ins are just like you would come on to this page. Oh, it doesn't really show me. I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to have to show you on the other web-based one how you enter stuff. So let me just toggle back to that. No check-ins yet. So how do we check in? Oh, here. This little plus sign. So you check in here. Oh no, that's just making a different one. Well, good God. You would have thought that I would have troubleshot this, but I did not. So more to come on that. I'll probably send a little tutorial once I figure it out myself. I'm not sure why I can't write, but that's a place for you to track the homework. And it's just another way for the community to kind of help one another. Then the profile is just that. It's a picture of you if you decide to put it in, and where your activities are. So if you're completing your assignments, it kind of shows you where you left off, which is sometimes nice because the app isn't necessarily real helpful in that regard. I'm going to go back to the app version. So learn is where I said all of the material is going to be. Our material is at the very bottom. It's called Taking Our Places, and you will scroll down and click on that, and it will open you up to all the course room for the week. I am only putting in a week at a time. So this week you only have week 1 stuff. That being said, I also will give you access to the other whole program that I have, that you could look at it front to back if you wanted. That program is here, the Learn to Love Your Story Personal Development Program. So this is the 20-week version. This is our 10-week version. Same material, just presented a little bit differently and clearly a lot more quicker. And that was part of the feedback that I got from some of the people, honestly, in my last October group. So I did 2 groups last year, and I'm hoping to get 3 in this year. But in my last October group, it was that holiday season. And it really just, I think that was part of what interrupted it, because when I did another one from January through June, it worked out just fine. So again, but it was feedback I got, and I wanted to try this and see if a 10-week thing would even work. So this is where we will be. You would open that up, and as you can see, each week you will see one of these headings. It has week 2 and week 3, but they're not open to you. To get the book in there somewhere that felt like it with the weeks, to put it up front. So the very first, you'll always see schools. This is kind of what it looks like. You just scroll through, and it'll have a lesson, and in that lesson it will have to audio. There's a lot of meditation that we're going to be doing, so a lot of audio meditations. It also will have the link at the very bottom to the actual PDF, and if you clicked on that, then it would open up a PDF in in your browser, and you can download that and write straight on it, because it's really quite nice. So I'm going to stop right there. I've said a lot and pulled us through a lot of things. Christy, since you're on the line with me, is there anything from that you have questions about? And no questions are done. What?
No, I don't have any questions right now. Can you hear me okay?
Okay, sounds good. I'm okay with that. All righty, so I am gonna show you for just a second. This is where I used to host these programs. I'm using the app now, but they just very similar kind of format. It just had 5 different courses. Now, some of you who have registered, this is going to look familiar to you, because I registered you through my old program, and this is that 20-week 5-week program. So the difference here is building self-awareness is 4 weeks long. So if I open this one up, this is a week, this is a week, this is a week, and this is a week. What I've done is consolidate that information into 2 weeks for each of the sections, and that's how I have come up with the 10-week. So I don't mind if you want to, those of you that have it this open to you, if you want to toggle back and forth and give me some feedback again. Part of doing this at the rate that you're doing it at is to give me feedback, and I really, really appreciate it, because I want to make it as user-friendly as possible, and I'm about as technically savvy as most Gen Xers, so this has been fun. So yeah, you can toggle back and forth, but I am not going to open this up to anybody that doesn't already have a password for it, because it'll just become confusing. What I'm going to do is, if you want to do it on your app, we kind of walked through that. That's what it would look like. What we're going to do is we're going to start here. And this is the app, but on an online desktop version. You can do it on a desktop, or you can do it on a tablet. Tablet might be even a little bit more handy. And then you're going to go straight to Learn, and you're going to scroll down to Taking Our Places, because that's our stuff. And I think that when we start each week, I'm going to open up the workbook, and we're going to kind of walk through what the main objectives are for the week. And then we'll come back and kind of highlight where you're going to get that information on each day. I know that you may do it daily, you may not. You may do a few things one day and a few things another day. I just, for all, to make it look neat, I put it in that day format. So we're going to open this guy up. It's going to take a second because my internet sucks right now, which I apologize about. It's thinking. It's really thinking hard. Oh, man. I should have had that already open. My bad. I actually think I had everything open and then I closed that browser of all things. All right. So here, what just happened? Okay. Nope. So sorry. I was trying to move my screen and something weird happened. All right. So this is taking our place as the workbook. This week you'll have the title page, my author page, and our table of contents, which just goes through each week what we're going to be reviewing. I won't include those going forward. Going forward, what you'll see is basically, and this self-care page is also the same each week. So what you'll see is kind of the start of your program. So week 1 is getting unstuck. But let me just talk a little bit about this. The table of contents and the author page is self-explanatory, but the self-care begins here. So I have one video called A Word on Self-Care. So I'm going to go back. Again, this is our platform. This is our first week. We were just in workbook and tools, but day 1 is a bonus and it's called A Word on Self-Care. When you open it up, it has a little bit of a blurb and it's a short, like 5-minute video here. By the way, I recorded a lot of these in the winter in Minnesota. So fun for all of you that don't live in snow, because there's a ton of it in my videos. Anyhow, please watch this and then go back to your week 1 workbook. I'm gonna just find the workbook though. And what I want us to do is really commit, even though self-care is a subject matter that we will go through, it is also something that has to be continuous throughout. So is mindfulness meditation practice. It's continuous through. To that subject matter, because I lay this out in a very specific strategic way, because neurologically you kind of have to layer it in that way. And so we'll be talking about that as we go through the course. I want to, just for this week, just want you to kind of think about what your commitment is to yourself. So this doesn't have to be an elaborate self-care plan. I will give you some other worksheets from time to time so that you can spice it up for yourself. I think one is like a mindfulness calendar, which helps people, stick to their mindfulness practice. And I have other ones that have like a grid of, you could do this kind of self-care or this kind of self-care, and it gives you kind of a drop-down menu of all the things you could do. There will be lots of versions throughout the 10 weeks. This week, I just want you to write down what your commitment is to yourself around self-care. If you can actually follow through and do a couple things, bonus. But really what I want you to think about after you watch that video is, what am I doing for myself here? What is my commitment to myself here? Okay, so that's A Word on Self-Care. Each of the weeks, that also will probably be kind of stuck at the end with that workbook. Just so, if you need to refresh your memory, you don't have to go back to the first week to look at it. So we're going to be talking about getting unstuck. Rediscovering our joy sometimes has a lot to do with unlearning all the things that we've learned that teach us that we're not experiencing joy. So I'll say that again because it's kind of like, sometimes, or a great deal of the time, when we aren't rediscovering our joy or aren't experiencing joy in our life, it has a lot to do with what we learned about ourselves and our world that now tells us that what we're doing right now isn't a joyous thing. And so some of the mind-blowing kind of things that we're going to go through right in the middle of the course really is to talk about what those rules are, those kind of unsaid rules that we follow and we don't test and we don't challenge, but they are feeding into this belief that we're not experiencing our own joy. So I start with awareness. Self-awareness is the first key. So thus the keys. Self-awareness is the first key to really unlocking why we do what we do when we do it, right? And this is an important piece to the whole program, because if we don't know why we do what we do when we do it, then we won't choose differently, right? We can find out why we do what we do and choose to keep it. It might be something that serves us, but we could also be bringing things into our conscious awareness that tell us, ooh, I'm getting in my own way. I don't want to do that anymore. That doesn't seem like a good idea. So I am having us start with this concept of getting unstuck. And the stuff that we're going to go through is really introducing you to the idea of mindfulness and the neurological basis for it. So some of you follow me and probably have watched me talk about this on videos, probably have seen this before. So this will be a refresher for you all in one little spot. But I do go into much greater detail in these videos. So they're like 20 minutes long, 15 minutes long each. But what we're going to do is try to build up this awareness. So our objectives for this week are mindfulness meditation practice, which is notice, describe, non-judgmental stance. That's it. It's focusing on one thing, noticing it, describing it, and not having any judgment about it. And I'll talk a ton about this in the videos to kind of walk you through how you're going to do this. I also talk in the videos and in the course room about, yes, your mind is going to wander. That's what our minds are wired to do. So don't get worried about, oh, I suck at mindfulness. Because this week, I don't even really want you to think about it as I'm going to get this many minutes of mindfulness in. It's not like that. What I want you to be thinking about is I need to just get in the habit of sitting down for a mindfulness practice. So if you don't do it at all and you're just sitting down and like delineating that time to build the habit in, you're already starting towards what you need to do. But what I'm going to teach you is mindfulness tolerance. So it's really just tolerating sitting there and watching your mind wander and coming back, and sitting there and watching your mind wander and come back. And I have a few different ways that you can do that. And I have some guided meditations to help you with it as well. So mindfulness practice. One of the guided things that I give you is practicing body-mind scanning or body scanning. So that is one of the ones that I'll guide you through on audio. And it has more benefits than just the mindfulness practice. Getting in touch with our body and our body mind is going to be an important part of how we're going to have self-awareness. So the lessons this week are going to go through this, what I call a superpower. You're going to get so sick of me saying superpower, but what I call a superpower, which is called neuroception. So there's this whole idea that our brain is just the 3 pounds of neurons sitting around in our skull. And it's not. It actually is not even just the nervous system that then goes throughout our body of neurons, or neuropeptides that create the neurotransmitters. So these are the chemicals like serotonin and dopamine and endorphins. These are things that make us feel good. And the receptor sites for those are not that are mind, like the body, brain are working. Now that you know, come to this a course already are online with that, but I'm going to go through the neurological basis for that and why it's important for us to be building mindfulness practice in order to build our conscious awareness of what's happening and to better interpret when our neuroception, which doesn't ask our brain what it wants to do, it just does things. It senses stuff in your environment and does things. So one of our neuroceptions is called proprioception. Proprioception is the body's awareness of its place in space. So clumsy people have poor proprioception. People that have, really good balance, great proprioception. Don't run into doors. Don't, knock over glasses easily. They know where their body is in space, but it never is going to go through your conscious awareness that that's what your body mind is doing. Your body mind just does those things. And there's something very important about learning that, and then learning a practice that's going to help you stay on top of that if you want to get unstuck. So many times the places we're stuck have become neuroceptive patterns of behavior. And those neuroceptive patterns of behavior are not going through, they're not bypassing through our thinking brain. So mindfulness practice is going to get them to bypass through your thinking brain. And that's the key here. If you don't know why you do what you do when you do it, you're never going to get out of those old patterns. And it's not because you're not trying, and it's not because you're not motivated, and it's not because you're not smart. For crying out loud, I got my doctorate trying to not have to do some of this stuff. I thought if I knew it all, I could just skip that. That's not how the mind body works. So having this practice is going to be key. And it is a practice. It is not something that like you do for a little while and you can give up because you gained your awareness. Much like exercise, it's like a muscle. So if you stop exercising, you atrophy. If you stop doing your mindfulness practice, your awareness levels will go down. All right. So that's all of that. The homework for the week is going to be start scheduling some times to do the body scan exercise and honestly, the mindfulness practice. I would encourage you to try to find 4 times a day. I would tie them to things you're already doing. James Clear in his book on Atomic Habits talks about this little trick. If you want to build a new habit, tie it to something that you never miss. So I never miss having to get out of bed, and I never miss having to go to bed. And that's usually, 1 in 4 is getting up and going down. I could do at least 2 minutes of something, or I could listen to that body scan. It's like 7 minutes long, so it's not a big deal. It's not a huge time investment. The other 2 times a day are yours to choose, but I would choose things that you always, always do, not things that you think you will do, and then you can't tie the practice to it. So for some people, it's, meals. If they, spend 2 minutes during a meal, be mindful about what's in their mouth, that's a mindfulness practice. I do a video this week that talks about all the different things that you could make a mindfulness practice out of. This is not rocket science. This is not going to be hard. There's so many things to choose from. It's about finding the things that work for you. That's it. So this worksheet is talking about those 4 times. This is just, the day that you did it, the 4 times you did it. You can make a time note, or you can just say, I did it at dinner, I did it at breakfast, I did it at whatever. And any notes that you might have about that. The next thing, I want you to be really graceful with yourself. Embrace the suck, because it is a new skill set. And I don't want you to be hard on yourself if trying to get a mindfulness practice into play is difficult. Just be kind and graceful, which we're going to talk about too during this program. But for now, I'm just warning you, we do get frustrated with ourselves when we're trying to create a new habit. Daily mindfulness tolerance practices are on the second worksheet. So these are 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different things that you could try as a mindfulness practice. This in combination with my short video is going to help you to come up with some things for yourself. So the notes here really are, if you have anything in addition to this that really worked for you, just make note of that. If you want to make notes about, journaling, I would go here or go into your journal. This isn't necessarily for a lot to be written down. I hope I'm not making anybody seasick by moving this up and down so fast. All right. So you're going to also practice holding your distractions lightly. Part of why we get frustrated is our mind wanders, right? And then if we're somebody that like our mind wanders to things that are like anxiety provoking, worries, things that we can't seem to solve in our mind. I want you to try one of these and see if that's useful. Getting the image in your mind of a conveyor belt. So like you notice that you went to that worry, but you also notice that that worry is just going to float by. Clouds, very similar. You notice the cloud, you notice that worry, but you just let it keep going and your attention is still on whatever practice it is that you have. Or imagine you have Teflon brain. So as soon as you get aware that your mind wandered, it slips out. That thought slips out and you go back to focusing on your breath or focusing on a body scan. And last but not least, this idea of the teacup, your lightest grip. So, your mind is wandering and then you pull it back, but you're not ever trying to hold on to any thought too tightly, not even the thing you're being mindful about. And that will become more apparent why that's useful. So that's it for the workbook this week. That's the homework that's going to go with all of these guys. So day one, by the way, is tomorrow. Day 2 is awareness. You'll read about that lesson and you'll watch this video. I talk a lot about why I got into the field I did, and why I think awareness is such a key feature of what we need to know. Day 3, a little bit of the backhand of that, gets a little bit more into the neurology here in that second video, but even more so by the time we're getting to neuroception. So once we start talking about neuroception, this video in particular, I'm going to talk about how your brain is plastic, how it will keep growing and changing, and we can intentionally create a new way of thinking and being in the world. I know that it seems kind of odd that we get this far in and then I talk about mindfulness, but again, I think that you'll understand as you go through these videos why I do the order that I do. But then I talk a little bit more specifically about mindfulness practice, a little bit about, this is that video I was referring to about finding mindful moments just in the ordinary, and then how you can use your mindfulness to reduce suffering. Reducing suffering helps us rediscover joy, right? And that is one of the guided meditations that you will go through. So any questions on any of that?
No questions yet.
Yay! You're the best pupil ever.
Well, I've already taken some of your classes, so neuroplasticity and all of that is very fresh in my brain.
You know. So this week is honestly a little lighter than next week will be. Both are on awareness. Next week, I'm going to really talk about polyvagal nervous system theory and kind of why we get irritable and angry, why we get anxious, and why we kind of numb out. Like what's kind of, and it's like bringing to carpentry because you're using the wrong tool in the wrong at the wrong time. I think it'll become, you'll understand why next week is a little bit more in depth. We are going to be doing journaling by next week. So if you don't want to print out the workbooks, which you don't have to at all, please just go get like a little, notebook. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Probably though, you want it to be bound. Don't be doing this like on a bunch of loose leaf sheets unless you're going to put it in a binder eventually, because I will tell you that almost every single person that has taken my courses continues to use that material. In fact, I had one ask me if I would ever think about putting the workbook together and binding it and sending it out to them so that they could have like a really fancy hard copy. Maybe someday I can do those things. Right now is not that day. But you will go back to this. Like I cross-reference things throughout the course. I you know, when we're talking about group coaching and you bring an issue and we're trying to kind of pull together why awareness might be helpful or why empowerment might be helpful in that case, you'll want to be able to go back and look at your notes and go, aha, now I get it. Now I've put those two things together. I use a lot of examples in my videos. I talk about a lot of examples in, you know, the stuff that I give you, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense until it, you know, makes sense to you, until it somehow hooks up with something of your own. So we've got like 10, 12 minutes. Christy, is there anything that we can talk about?
Oh, I had questions about, well, I guess fitting in the mindfulness, because that's been my big struggle, because it was something that I did before anyway.
Yeah.
But then, you know, life gets crazy, your schedule shifts like monumentally, you're waking up at 3 a.m. and all of a sudden it's this snooze battle of like,
yeah,
what do I trade?
mm-hmm. What I would, well, first of all, oh gosh, I gotta end that decline. Falling asleep or feeling too antsy and restless to do mindfulness are two of the most common things that your body mind is going to do. You're asking it to do something it's not familiar with, and so your body mind is just going to pull you away from that. And that's the two ways that it does it. Either you're going to hypoactively sleep through it, or you're going to hyperactively get antsy and restless and not want to do it. So mindfulness tolerance is all I want you to really be thinking about this week. It's just about introducing it as a habit. And so your question is really poignant, Christy. I would try some of the things that I'm talking about. Tie it to things that you're already doing. Don't expect yourself to do more than, 1-2 minutes this week of any of those things. If you do more, great. But if you don't, that's all you're asking of yourself, is to kind of get into the habit of doing it and reintroducing yourself to it. Because I don't think if you do it for 60 seconds or 120 seconds, 1 to 2 minutes, you're going to get tired enough to really drift. That usually happens when we try to do this like 5 minutes plus, that we really start to notice that we get tired and shut down or get too restless and want to get up. Does that answer your question? That's a great question, by the way, because it's very common.
Yeah. And it was one of the things that I was like, well, if I do it right before bed, then sometimes I fall asleep and I feel like I didn't do what I was supposed to do, or then my mind wakes up and I can't sleep now.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I could change what kind of meditation I was trying to do too, because there's also like breath work mindfulness too, right?
Sure, absolutely. So the body scan and focus on the breath are two of the ones that you're going to get, I believe, this week. I'm going to go look while we're talking about it. I'm going to share my screen again. And then the ice, holding ice, you don't actually have to hold ice if you don't want to. So nobody get worried about this, but you'll understand why the idea of that would be useful when you do the guided meditations. My guided meditations can be 10, 12, upwards of 15 minutes. I think the ones that I do this week are all about 6, 7. So those might be something that are a little bit more challenging for you, Christy, but the beauty is they're with you the whole line of the way. So because of that, I would just not worry about, like, if I can't get through one of those, I'll just try to do one of those tolerance practices, like looking at a candle or, putting something in my mouth and just describe what it feels like, where, like, am I feeling it here? Am I feeling it in my cheeks? Am I feeling it on the front of my tongue? That's literally a mindfulness practice. Or being mindful during something you're already doing, washing the dishes, brushing your teeth in the morning, just those normal kind of day-to-day things. And I give you kind of that information throughout the weeks. But let me check out how many of them are in there. Yeah, it's body scan, holding ice, and noticing your breath are the 3. These are links to them on my website, but all of them are available to you on,
Okay.
so the reason I did this, you guys, in the app, it's one of my favorite parts of the app, is it allows you guys to download them. So you can download it to your phone, and then anytime you want to do these, internet or not, you have it on your phone. So that was one of the reasons I really liked this in comparison to my previous learning management system, that it was just links. Everything was a link that brought you someplace else. I just don't think that worked as handy. So we'll get to the workbook. we'll get that being a little bit more handy too. But those are your 3 for the week. And so those will be the longest thing you do if you do them. You know, if you're feeling like just getting the habit is the real focus, then just do that this week. You know, just because I have it in 10 weeks does not mean that it's logistically possible to do all these things in 10 weeks. If you're working full time and doing school like you are, completely empathize with that, by the way. So I, just do what's going to be the best for you. I try to present things in that spectrum, because everybody that comes to this group coaching is kind of in a different place or is doing this for a different reason.
Right. And that's probably why you wanted everybody to have access to content afterwards too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would hear from people all the time that they watched if they missed, but sometimes they went back and watched again because something I said was really like, oh, I got to think about that some more. And they just wanted to hear me say it again, right? While they could collect their thoughts a little bit differently. So it's part of the group coaching package that you can go back and use that stuff at any point. You can listen to it like a podcast while you're walking or something.
Yeah, because that's like the mindfulness practice. Like I was listening to your video earlier this week, and I remembered about brushing my teeth, and I tried that one day and it did help.
Yeah.
And then
Did I lose you? Oh, there we go. Got you back. I hope that got on the recording. I'm sorry. With my internet right now, it's not my favorite. All righty. Okay. So the only other thing that I usually do on this first night is talk about goals. Like, what is your goal for the first 10 weeks? And, we can talk a little bit about it now, or we could, table that and you can put it into, if I can figure out how community, no, the community one works fine. It was the tracking your stuff that wasn't working. So if you go to community and you go to taking your places and introduce yourself, you're going to write a message in here anyway. And again, like it has links for the video. So I'm just thinking that I'll have a community page that is just all the videos that you can link to. I could even create a landing page on my website that just has them all, and I'll keep dropping them in there. And so the link won't change, which is a little bit more nice than, but I do, as much as I can, I want to use stuff on the app because I do want to get feedback from you guys about, is that more useful than doing this in 12 different places? The community, last time I did this was always on a Facebook group that was private, but I didn't get as much traction with that. So I'm hoping this is going to get a little bit more traction this time.
All right.
All right. So do you have a goal? Do you have a goal for me, or do you want to just think about it and write it in?
I'm going to have to think about it and write it in.
Okay. That sounds good.
Thanks.
Good. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you next week. My time, by the way, for drop-in, and I'll send this out in email. I gotta double check that I'm doing this right. But I have drop-in office hours on. Oh, come on. Friday. But I can't remember what time I decided. Oh, Friday afternoon. So Friday at, it's 3 p.m. my time, whatever that is, your time.
It's
I'm
3
That's
p.m.
not
your
3 p.m.,
time.
2 p.m. my time. It's 2 p.m. my time. Whatever that is your time. So I'm in Central Standard Time, and it's at 2 o'clock is when my drop-in time will
Okay.
be.
I think that's noon my time, so that works.
So, and I'm gonna put, popcorn those all over the place too, so that you guys can tell me what you think of that, and if you'd rather that I just did the same time every week. But I'm doing it because I know I've got people on the East Coast and people on the West Coast, and so I'm gonna do my best to kind of like,
Yeah, you've got to
do
make it
things all
fit
over
for
the
as
place.
many people as possible.
Yeah,
Even.
yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you have a great evening. I'll see you next Tuesday or on Friday, possibly. Same link, by the way. Always the same link. It's the personal room. So just is the easiest. Then I don't have to send out links for each separate thing. All right, everybody. Have a good rest of your night. Bye.